Difficult. Women. Back again.
Back. In sync. Back again. Is that the
Guess who's back again? Nope. What's it?
In sync. I think it's Backstreet Boys, but whatever. Same, but different.
Oh, Backstreet's back again.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah. I was like, In Sync's here right now. That's they just copied it.
Oh, that's
anyway,
Katy Frame.
I'm Katy Frame, and that's Marie Steele Anderson. And this is the Difficult Women Podcast, and we are back for another new, exciting episode.
That's right. Ow! We're synced up. Are we? When do you start?
Nope. I got another couple weeks.
Damn it. I'm right now. I'm just sitting in a bucket. Just kidding.
That'd be one way to do it.
To each his own. Yep.
Yeah.
To each his own.
It's fine with me.
I love it. How are you? What's going on? Let's check in. Let's do a check in.
I'm good.
Let's huddle.
I was thinking what's even been going on? And honestly, partly because pandemic lockdown vibes, I just haven't been doing a lot. But one thing I did think was interesting, sort of, maybe not interesting at all. I saw like an Instagram ad or something for these streaming workout classes, and there was like a 14-day trial period. And Emma Stone was like, these are great. And so I was like, oh, okay, I'll sign up. Like a fucking idiot. I'm a fucking idiot. But I've been doing these classes. It's a little bit like a cult. Maybe you all have heard of it. It's called The Class. It's kind of culty. It has culty vibes. But they have these like streaming classes that are kind of like, definitely not yoga. But there's like yoga vibes. So it's a lot of like, get into your heart center. Now do jumping jacks.
Oh.
So I'm like, okay. And I don't know what is happening with this crazy witch yoga cult. But every time I do a class, I start crying.
Oh, Katy.
But I love it. Like, I love it.
That feels like your kind of workout.
Oh my God. It's just like
mental and physical workout.
Oh my God. Just breaking me down. Just loving it. And I don't know what is going on. I really don't. And they say that like, I think part of it, I really don't know. But I think part of it is I've been like running. I run and stuff, but I haven't been doing enough like moving the rest of my body around, especially like the tightness around my neck and shoulders and all that. And I think it's just releasing some of that, and it's coming out in weird ways. I don't know. But the other thing I hate, it's like I hate this class so much. I hate the people that run the classes. I hate them, and I hate myself for liking it so much. I just really, the most self-hatred I've had in a long time is when I'm doing these classes. And the question is, I'm at the end of my 2-week period, and am I going to fork up the money to continue? I don't know. Probably
Can you
not,
sign up again with a different email address? I used to do that with all different.
I'm sure I can. And the truth is, I've got a lot of email addresses, so a lot of burner accounts that I
a lot of
use.
burner accounts.
Yeah, so just for that very purpose. So maybe I'll do that. But anyway,
I wish we had
guys,
a promo code for our listeners for the class.
The one that's run by devil worshippers or something creepy. I don't know what is going on over there, but I love it. I love
it. Oh, that's
so
fun.
So for white women, just like the most white woman, a lot of like get into your heart center. Also, here's like African like music that we're all gonna like, you know what I mean? Like they're just really trying to lean in. There was one, look, I'm all about this in theory. When you think about it, it's important to think about these things. But there's one teacher that she starts every class with a land acknowledgement.
Oh, wow.
Which I'm like, look, I'm all about land acknowledgements as the concept of like, hey, we have to like remember that we came over here and pillaged this land and then, ruined people's lives. But it feels so performative to me when people do these like land acknowledgements before like a jumping jacks class.
Wow.
Like I can't. It makes me insane. It makes me insane. And then I still cry just like a white woman. just like a white woman.
Huh. Wow.
Anyway,
check it out.
That's my rant about that.
The class. Go to theclass.com/difficult women for that promo code. No.
We don't have one.
We don't have one.
That's been the most exciting thing for me is I tapping into my inner white lady.
Oh, well, I got lost in the woods the other day.
Cool.
That's my inner white lady being like, help! Where am I? No,
What happened?
I was with a friend and I said, let's go for a long ass hike. And then we just proceeded to get lost in the woods. I mean, we were on a trail, but I didn't bring my phone. I mean, it was just wonderful I didn't have anything with me, not even water. Stupid. And we were supposed to just go for like a cute little 6-mile hike. It ended up being 11 miles and we were just out there. It was starting to get a little dark. I was like,
You
okay.
didn't know where you were going, or it was just a long hike?
I didn't know where we were going. My friend thought she knew where she was going. I trusted her. Shouldn't have. Never trust anybody in the woods.
Don't trust women.
Don't trust women.
Never trust a woman.
Certainly a friend. No, but it's fine. It all worked out. I'm here now, podding. I'm not in the woods.
Yeah,
but
you made it. You made it
quite
out.
terrifying. But I mean, the thing about hiking is you just keep following the trail and you just hope that it's a loop rather than just going straight into the...
You end up in Kentucky and you're like, well, it's a new experience.
Yep. Anyway, get out there and move. That's been my saving grace during this whole pandemic, is just getting out there, moving my body, and then coming back and crying, you know?
That's a great plan. I like to cry while I'm moving, but yeah, that's about
that's nice.
right. That sounds good to me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I sit still and cry, but
Yeah, we
good.
figure out what works for us.
That was nice. That was a good intro. That was solid. Solid.
Solid as a rock.
All right. What are we getting into today?
We're talking about something that I have not thought about since before the pandemic. And that's high heels. High heels.
High heels. Oh, man. What do you like wearing high heels?
Sometimes I love wearing high heels and sometimes I don't. This is sort of an interesting topic as far as I'm concerned, because I have very mixed feelings about them. And I think a lot of women and men do.
Mm-hmm. I love a man in heels. I'll put that out there. I love that gender fluidity. I love that that's what's happening right now in society, that we are kind of playing with. I mean, fuck all the gender norm type stuff. Like let's get all fluid. And I love a man in heels. I think it's really hot.
Funny that you say that, because yes, we absolutely associate women with high heels, especially nowadays. But they started out not being for women.
That's right.
Did you know that? Did you know?
I did know that because I went to the history of high heels. There was an awesome high heel exhibit at the Brooklyn Museum like 10 years ago. And it blew my mind because I didn't know that men, so it started in the 10th century, believe it or not. Persian warriors, military men, wore these type of shoes that kept their feet in the stirrups so they could stand up while riding a horse.
They could stand up and shoot bows.
God, that's hot.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking hot. I mean, a man on a horse is hot anyway.
Oh, God.
But a man on a horse shooting an arrow at me, that's my
in
type
high
of guy.
heels.
In high heels. My type of man. There you go.
But I like that it was like a technical, it's like for like, a technical reason, a purpose for them. And then of course the Europeans later, I guess in like the 16th century or so, or.
Yeah, they were saying too that, I thought this was kind of interesting because I forget that this was the thing. There were trade routes between what was then called Persia and then European countries. And when you're trading goods, you're also trading cultural things. And so then high heels moved into places like, it was like Spain and Venice. They got really popular. Actually, I'm kind of into the way these look. These like they're more like platform shoes. Did you see those that women would wear and they'd be like really high, like 3 inches or something crazy, platformed up, because the streets were so like plague infested and disgusting that people were trying not to step on the actual streets, which is so scary to me. But the shoes were beautiful. And then they became also like a fashion statement in that category of Europe.
Well, I saw a historian go off on YouTube about those things. They're called chopines. Yeah, they were called chopines. So this historian went off on YouTube and he was like, those are not high heels. Those were purposely to just not step on shit.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, but
I kind of love it.
Heels?
I mean, there's still shoes that are like, there's also, they were saying that there was there's some depictions in India of women in like what are more like platforms too, but that was the first depiction of a woman in a high-heeled shoe. That's just a side note.
Interesting.
And that was earlier, but yeah.
Well, but it started with men, which is so cool.
Started with
and
men.
The aristocracy definitely took it over and made it. I mean, obviously, the wealthy, the king Louis XIV really made them very popular. And I didn't even know. So Louis Vuittons, like those fancy high heels that are around right now, with the red sole. So that was because Louis XIV, he actually had his high heels with the red soles because he loved the color red, and he made it a law that you could only wear red-heeled high heels unless you were royalty or in the court.
Yeah, which
so
is
like peasants couldn't wear red-soled high heels, which they weren't even wearing high heels because they were working in the fields and things,
But also that like that was sort of like a law he implemented around these shoes. Another law that he implemented at one point, or some king did, probably him, was if you were more of like a peasant type or like even peasants weren't allowed to wear them, but like a lower class person, you still couldn't wear a heel that was higher than a certain height because only the royalty could wear the highest of shoes. That was sort of the whole thing. But here's the other thing I thought was fascinating about this. So around like the French, this is all in France, you know, during the French Revolution, then by that time, it was more and more like common and fashionable for like more regular people to be wearing high heeled shoes, and it would be men and women and all that stuff a little bit more. But then there was like a dip in popularity because people associated high-heeled shoes with royalty, and in the revolution it was all off with their heads kind of thing, so people didn't want to be associated with the royalty anymore, and so they stopped wearing there was less common people wearing high-heeled shoes. They also didn't want to get shot or something because they or stabbed because they didn't want to be confused with royalty either. But I thought that was sort of an interesting political aspect of these shoes.
Well, even before that, I guess. So men were wearing the high heels, and then the courtesans were adopting like, masculine type things in close quarters. So they would throw on the high heels as well, and the men would find that real sexy. And so that's, I think, interesting because then back in like, I guess like the 50s then, or like pornography really brought back heels. So after they kind of went away, they came back because of porn. Because it makes legs look longer and sexier, and
your muscles are kind of like, your calves are like tightened up, so you have like this like hardness in your legs makes your butt look good and hard. I don't know what I'm saying like that, but they make your legs look good,
right? And
then it became this like sexy woman thing, and then we lost sort of the connection to any male. It became a feminine thing. Whereas before it wasn't really. It lost popularity in the 70s when women started saying like it's a way to oppress women because you're putting them on these sort of like stilts and saying that they have to look a certain way and wear a certain thing. And I find it fascinating how much they've been regulated in these different ways, especially when it came to women. Because I don't know if you saw that too, but there was another law. So while in Europe, people are playing around with some of these shoes, in the United States and like in puritanical like environments, you were considered a witch if you were wearing them.
Right, because it would lure men to your devilish ways.
So there's been so much put upon a pair of footwear and how much it's connected to female autonomy, body autonomy, and sex.
And status, like power. And
yeah.
I was reading this one thing. It's like, when Obama was sworn in, like there was Michelle with like the hottest, sexiest high heel shoes behind him. And like, what would it have said to the leader of the free world's wife to be wearing flat shoes? And I really did think about that. I was like, that would be, there is such a status to a woman in powerful high heels.
But it depends on the context, because also there's a lowering of status among some women if they're in high heels. You know what I mean? Like there's like a, and I think about this when in terms of uniforms, right? So like in airlines and stuff, there's no law that says you can't force your employees to wear high heels. If that's your dress code, then you're allowed to say you have to wear high heels. And airlines have been notorious for making women wear high heels on their flights. That's starting to change now way more. But it also reminds me of, I had a friend that used to work at there was a restaurant in Midtown called the Tropicana Zone or something. And it was like the most horrifying restaurant I've ever been to, because it wasn't even like, it's not a strip club, it's not a Hooters. It was like they took these women and they would have auditions for them, quote unquote, and they would be like, you're going to be auditioning to be a model. And it was the Tropicana Zone modeling competition or something. And then your prize was you could be a waitress at this restaurant. It was so fucking weird. And then you like lived in the Tropicana Zone housing, which was like a very restricted dorm type living. So the women couldn't leave, after 10 p.m. or they had to be home by a certain time. It was really fucked up. And then they also had to wear these insane high heels while they were serving. And the truth was they weren't very good waitresses because that wasn't really what they were. First of all, they weren't, and they had to wear bikinis the whole night.
Oh, you missed that. Okay,
yes, I missed bikinis because I was thinking about the shoes. But they had to wear bikinis and they were in these high-heeled shoes. And then the truth was they took the orders and they did they were on their feet the whole day though. And then there'd be back waiters. So like my friend was a back waiter, so he did all the kind of grunt lifting stuff. But even so, just standing in high heel shoes like that all day, it's not like they're not carrying plates over. They were doing waitressing activities and things. And then in the middle of the night, every like 20 minutes, they'd have another bikini contest. So the girls would have to then stop what they were doing and then go up and walk on this platform and then like model for and it was always like packed full of businessmen. Just like these like businessmen. It was very rarely. I remember going a couple times and being so uncomfortable there because there's just so few women. And it was like, again, it was weird because it wasn't even like, it's not like they were getting, I guess they got tipped as waitresses, but it was just a very strange thing. But when I think about having to work in high heels, I think about that place because they also had a minimum, like the heels had to be like 3-inch heels. Like, and girls would be miserable and complaining and the management was like, no, that's just what we do here.
Well, I remember when I was a cater waiter, I worked for, it was at Hammerstein Ballroom. It was a billionaire poker match. And I didn't know that going in, but I just knew that it was an event and I was supposed to show up in like, I think they just said bring a black dress or something. So I show up in a black dress and like black loafers to like run around this joint, like getting drinks for these billionaires. And it was so weird because there was like seven different like poker tables. And then whoever won at each table like kept moving to different tables. And then the final table of the billionaires like was in this like table that like they lifted up into the air. And so I was like, how do I get there?
People are so fucking weird.
So weird. But I just remember that experience. So I showed up in like a cute black dress, I thought, and some like black comfortable loafers. There were these two super hot girls showed up in really cute black dresses with huge stilettos. And they made so many tips. They made all the tips that night. Like, and I couldn't figure out, I think I made $7 that night. I saw them at the end of the night. They were counting their tips. They must have made over $1,000 in tips. And I was like, it's because of the heels. Like, why didn't I, but I can't work. I just can't work in heels.
I had two jobs where I worked in heels, like a waitering job. One was my first job out of college where I was there for like one shift because it was so shady and like it was terrible. And it was a cocktail bar and it was a martini cocktail bar. And you had to wear high heels. So you're trying to balance this martini on a tray and you're like stumbling around on these heels. That was a nightmare and so uncomfortable. And then the other job that I had, this was by choice, it was my very first serving job. And we had to wear these like ugly, or it didn't have to be ugly, but they had to be like colorful vests, And so I made my own vest and I made it tight fitting. And then you could wear pants, or you could wear women could wear black skirts with black tights. That was there was no, that was just the whatever you wanted. And I would wear pants, and then these girls were like, "Don't you put on a skirt? See what happens. Put on a skirt."
Right.
And so the next day I came in with like this tiny little black skirt that they let me wear, and then I had heels on because it was like, what kind of shoes are you going to wear with a skirt like that? And I made so much more money.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I was like 19 or 18. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
I mean, you do it because you're like, I'm trying to make money, but like, what is happening right now?
Right. You remember that stuff stays with you. I bet a lot of our listeners have stories like that.
Oh, yeah.
But it is impossible to work like that. I mad respect, because I mean, any of those clubs in like the meatpacking district in New York, like going to those beautiful servers
I
in
have a friend that
huge
does that.
stilettos. Running around for 8 hours on their feet. I do not. I've always been jealous of women that are like, oh, they're so comfortable.
I mean, and I went through a phase where I was wearing them kind of a fair amount, and they felt more comfortable because you kind of get used to them. But then when you stop wearing them and then you wear them again, you're like, what was I thinking? Like, these are they can be very hard to wear depending on the shoe. But also, like, to speak to what you're saying, there's like serious injuries that can come from wearing heels that much. You know what I mean? Like, if you're wearing them to work every day and you're running around like that, there's like some, aside from falling and that kind of thing, or like, you know, twisting your ankle, you can get stress fractures. You can get shin splints. I remember I used to get shin splints when I'd wear my heels a lot. And I'd be like, hey, this is comfortable. I'm like, what am I talking about? Arthritis is a thing you can develop. You can have like hammer toe and all that fucking crazy shit that like comes with having your foot squished into a shoe. My mom had to wear high heel shoes every day to work. You know, she worked in an office, but it was just, you know, God forbid in the 80s and 90s that you would wear flat shoes. Women just didn't do that.
Oh gosh,
so she's got
sign of a working woman in the 80s is like those white Reebok shoes with pantyhose, and then they would go and like change. That was like the best lesson I learned in New York. It's like, change into your heels.
I mean, and that's the thing. That's one thing too. I always thought, like, I remember like seeing these women in New York like wearing these really high shoes, walking around all the time. And I'm like, how are they doing that? And then one day I saw one of these women getting out of a cab, and I was like, oh, that's how you do it. You don't take the subway. You don't take the subway in shoes like that. Yeah. But I think that like, so that's sort of what I mean by like, in the right context, you see Michelle Obama and it's so powerful. And then you see the Tropicana Zone girls that are like suffering. And then it becomes like a torture device, really, and a way to control women's bodies and their bodily autonomy. And so even these, like, that's what's sort of fascinating to me about like the laws around them. So like, oh, in Puritan times, you were a witch if you wore it. But in you know, and for status reasons, Louis says, hey, no one can wear them except for me. You know what I mean? Because there's, I mean, just weird shit like that. Women weren't allowed to wear them. And then women are expected to wear them. And then you're at a job and you have to wear them. And then you say, hey, that's not comfortable for me. I'm going to sue you. And then you get fired for not wearing. You know what I mean? So that it's just one more way. What I've sort of determined about heels is it's just like one more way to try to control women, but also a way for women to take back some power too, if that's what they choose to wear.
Right.
So like there was some town in like Alabama or something that was like, it's like illegal or something to wear them some places because because it's too sexy.
Oh, wait.
So it's like you can't win. You either do it, are forced to wear them, or you're told you can't wear them for kind of the same reason, I guess, around sex. But
I have a quick story to share.
Tell me.
Not about heels, but this is going to get y'all fired up. So a friend of mine was driving. So we all went to Dollywood for my birthday, and she dropped people off in Knoxville. And then on her way home, she stopped driving from Knoxville to Nashville. She stopped at a fruit stand kind of in the country. And you saw her. She was wearing like a kind of a crop top, but not really. Really wasn't. It was like a long shirt, but showed a little bit of a belly, whatever. So she went to this fruit stand in the country, got some peaches, some tomatoes, went to go pay. And the woman there said, I have to say, I don't know if you're from around here, but we actually, we ask our customers to cover their bellies when purchasing vegetables.
When you're
here."
purchasing fruit.
Yeah. And Jessica was just like, what? She thought she like heard her wrong or whatever.
Right.
And she was
insane.
like, why? And she said to protect their customers.
Yeah.
So it is shaming a woman's body because it causes lust in male customers.
Right.
Let's just say it like that.
Did you hear about the guy like a week ago? He was at a lake. There's a lot of people swimming at the lake. And there was a bunch of women, young women, who were in bathing suits. And he was so offended. He's a young man. Like, this guy's probably like maybe 25, or maybe he's older, maybe he's more like 30. But they were, unpacking their picnic or whatever. And somebody, like one of the people in his group was like, "Oh, we have to move because we've got a young son. And this is unacceptable." And so he went over to these women and said, "How dare you wear bathing suits at the lake?" And they were like, "What the fuck, dude?" They filmed him, and then the video went viral. And then he defended himself. He was like, "I felt the righteous need to, defend the young men that were in our group, so they should not have to look at like that kind of lustful whatever." It's like, no, dude, you need to just keep your dick in your pants. Like, there's nothing wrong, dude. And then I was like, were they wearing like Brazilian bikini bottoms? Like, what was going on here? No, they're just wearing regular bikinis. They're young, pretty ladies in regular bikinis with a regular bathing suit you could buy at Walmart. So I mean, like,
these stories make me, the fact they're still happening. We're still
they're
shamed
happening
for
more
our
than
bodies.
ever in some ways.
Right.
They're happening at a crazy rate right now.
Yeah. I was mad. Jessica, like, I was like, so you dropped the bag of peaches and walked away? And she was like, "No, I got the peaches. They were really good." I'm like, "Those were lustful peaches."
Yeah. And to her credit, she was really actively looking for peaches for a long time. So she may have been like, "Well,
she was really wanting some peaches.
Just gotta get these nuts.
Get the peaches.
Yeah.
But I mean, if somebody had said that to me, I don't know. In the country, I would have had to go off. I have to use that as a teaching time. Pull up a chair.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
It would be hard not to just be like, why is my outfit any of your, like, if you can't control your feelings around my outfit, that says a lot more about you than it says anything about me.
Also, put up a sign then, which I'm pretty sure is illegal, but okay.
I mean, no, but don't even put up, don't, like, that's nuts.
Yeah. But that's how it's so similar to like requiring women to wear high heels.
Requiring them to wear them and then also shaming them for wearing them. The same breath.
Them. Yeah.
In the same fucking breath. Same country.
Right.
Same fucking country.
Right. Well, they're actually in Japan in 2019. They had a full campaign called #Kutu. So women in Japan fight expectations to wear high heels with #Kutu movement. So it's play on Me Too. But there's so much sexism over there and requirements of women to adhere to men's standards, and the beauty standards over there are like for men and whatever. And so when the Me Too movement started, they actually started the Kutu movement because kutsu is shoes in Japanese, and so they had a hashtag.
But doesn't also like kutsu with 2 U's at the end also mean like pain? So that's an interesting thing I mean, I don't know. That's all about that.
And then also in the UK, a woman was required to wear heels. And so she actually got like thousands of women signed this petition. And the parliament just ignored it completely. Like they're like, we're not addressing this. But everyone's angry. A lot of women are very angry at these requirements. And it's not just like in America.
Well, and the thing too is it's like one of the arguments is like it's sexist. It's sexism. And it's like discrimination by sex to say that a woman has to wear high heels to work, but a man doesn't. Because at the end of the day, and it's not illegal because people want to say, well, it's not sexism. It's like, but how can it not be? How can it not be? Also, here's another question I have for you. What would happen at these like fancy, banking places where they, have been trying to require women to wear high heels to work and stuff? What would happen if one of the male bankers showed up in high heels?
I know.
Would he be allowed to do that? I mean, like you're saying you have to wear high heels. So, okay, I'll wear high heels.
Right.
That wouldn't be
Right.
okay.
I would love a man to do that.
Sure. But you know that that's like not, so if you're saying that, then wouldn't that be sexism to say you can't wear high heels to work?
Right.
The other thing I just want to point out is as is the case with basically everything on this, freaking country, this kind of discrimination in terms of like dress code at work and things like that, it affects people of color at a much higher rate, and Black women specifically. Things like hair becomes a problem. You never hear of white women having dress code issues with their hair. It's so rare. But God forbid, a Black woman has her natural hair at a banking job. They don't want you to look like that. So there was an interview with a woman that she was talking about how she was like, every day before work, I would be like, what is the outfit that won't get me in trouble today? Because she had like a tan suit. She had like a navy blue suit. She had a black suit. She just like regular colored suits. But she would come into work and they would be like, wow, your outfit's like so loud today. And she's like, why me as a Black woman? And I'm looking around the room and I see a white woman in the exact same J. Crew suit. But for some reason it looks loud on me, or there's some assumption that I'm trying to whatever. And she said too, she had this like raspberry colored like jacket, and they would make fun of her and be like, "Oh, you look like Mrs. Claus or whatever." She's like, it's just like a raspberry overcoat. It's not like that loud. It's like a muted, one of those like jewel tone things. And you're just like, that. What is happening? Why are you telling people what to wear anyway? Why are you telling? As long as someone's coming to work and they don't look like they just vomited on their shirt, we should be fine. You know what I mean?
Right.
You should be able to wear a nice, I understand like looking presentable, but their definition of presentable is through this crazy lens of like, but a woman should look feminine and she should, wear makeup and she should have her hair.
My hotel job, women were required to wear dresses. And I was like, this is so fucked up. Why do I have to wear a dress? I can't work in this dress.
It's so hard.
These dresses were so tight and so like you bending over and pulling out like tons of, we were like setting up buffets, and I had to like crawl under these tables to like plug in shit. And here I am in this short black dress.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I should have taken it to the top. But you don't want to lose your job. So you play along.
And some people can't lose their jobs. You know what I mean? Like it's one thing but we're lucky because we're people that like, if you did lose that job, you get another job. Some people are not in that position. Some people do not have that luxury. And it's just really, I don't know. And yes, this has to do with shoes because it is about like, it's about the like, trying to control someone else's appearance to your liking. Whether or not it hurts them or not. The thing about shoes specifically is that, like we just said, they can cause medical problems. So it's like, it should be a choice. If you want to wear those shoes to work, yes, get it. Yes. That's great. If they make you feel good, wear them. But if you're being forced to wear them, then now it's not empowering anymore. One
thing I wish I would have really held my ground at is I had a short boyfriend who I loved. I loved him so much, and he would not let me wear high heels.
No, but that's fucked up.
It's so fucked up. I remember going to one of my best friend's weddings, and I had to find little kitten heels so he would feel comfortable. Whereas like I had the coolest dress. I wanted like the coolest heels to go with it, and he wouldn't allow it, which is so insane because I think one of the hottest couples is our friend Henry Zabrowski and his wife Natalie, and she's so much taller than him and she still wears high heels, and it is so sexy how sexy they are together, and he doesn't give a fuck.
So I'm sure he loves it. Yeah.
If you're a short man and you won't let your woman wear heels,
also,
which first
enough
off, like,
with this you can't let people do. I'm done with that. Like it's not about letting.
You can't tell your woman. Yeah,
but you don't. But your request that she not wear high heels, rethink that. And she shouldn't have to do what you want anyway. And if you get mad that she does what she wants anyway, then fuck off. Fuck off.
Yeah. Yep. Another reason to break up. Get out of there. Run. Just run in your high heels.
And also as women, I just want to say too, because on these dating apps, like there's a lot of men that are under 6 foot and like they're putting their heights down, and that you can see that they have been discriminated against because of their height. So as women too, we have to get over this idea that a man has to be taller than us.
Yes.
And that's a societal thing too. That's a side note. So like, I think that one thing that's so great about when you see a shorter man and a taller woman with like high heels on is it just means that they are both extremely confident in who they are. That's what's appealing about it. So fuck it. Let's own it,
Yeah. My only other thing I wanted to talk about with high heels is that Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah, I was just thinking about
that. Is it Jessica Chastain?
Was it Jessica Chastain,
the actress. And she fought those dinosaurs in fucking stilettos, and that made me so angry because how?
But I'll tell you what about that. That was her choice as an actress, and it was a bad choice. It was a bad choice. I know. It was a bad choice. It sent a bad message to people. But I just want to clarify, it wasn't a man that told her to do it.
Yeah, she wanted.
It wasn't the male director. It was her saying, "I think that my character would run in these heels." I'm like, "Are you fucking crazy? No, she wouldn't." But that's an interesting thing about like heels and the power of heels, right? I think in her mind, it was a bad choice. It didn't make sense. But in her mind, I think it made her character stronger and more of like a badass because she's doing all of this and she's doing it in heels. But what's dumb about it is it's like, are you stupid? Like nobody's gonna like if you look stupid because like nobody is gonna keep their shoes on when they're running from dinosaurs. Like come on. I don't care how good. I don't care. I was gonna say I don't care how much of a Sarah Jessica Parker you are, just jogging down the street in your heels. You're still even Sarah Jessica Parker would take the shoes off if a T-Rex burst through Barney's and was like she had to make a run for it. There's just no way.
Yeah, that I don't ever understand too. It's like actually running in heels. I can't. I've always been very jealous of women who can successfully just wear them for a couple hours. Because I went to a wedding this summer and I did wear heels, even though I talked to my super young 22-year-old friend, and she told me that the young kids have said no more heels, and she said that you wear dresses with tennis shoes, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, I didn't do that. I wore heels and I had to take them off, and I walked around barefoot the whole time with almost stepping on glass. YOLO.
Yeah, I mean, they're uncomfortable. What are you gonna say? I had a moment in time, like I said, there was a time I wore them more, and I could jog down the street in them, and it was the whole thing. But I can't now. Yeah, but you know what it is? Yeah. It isn't that they're comfortable. It's that you just do it anyway. It's like you're in pain.
You just power through the pain.
Do it anyway, and that. What does that say? Like, I don't know. But I do love the way I look in them, and I love how I feel in them. And certainly when I would do a lot of auditions and stuff, I'd be wearing these crazy high heels. I had a shit ton of them. And you walk in and with your heels on, and it would change your performance. I mean, it changes the way you feel. So, I mean, I'm not against them by any means, but the main thing is we got to get off this whole roller coaster of, not even a roller coaster, it's just one deep nosedive of people trying to tell women what to wear and how to wear it and why.
Right.
And that means anything about the woman. If she's a witch or a prostitute if she's wearing high heels, or she's not following company policy if she's not wearing them. I mean, what are we doing?
Well, I have to say, when I went to the strip club a couple of months ago, and those women were in those platform, they're like 4-inch platforms, and then like an 8-inch heel or something, and then they fucking destroyed on the pole, like true athletes. Yeah, like I would love to see a man even fucking try.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. I'd also love to see a stripper in Birkenstocks. Why not?
I know.
Like why not? Why is it have to be about that?
Right.
So, like,
I don't know.
But I love it. I think it looks fucking sexy too. I think it's cool.
Yeah, right. Well, go out there, wear your heels if it empowers you.
Or don't. Whatever.
Yeah, I know.
And don't tell people what to do.
Yeah,
Don't tell me what to
Certainly because they're going to be like, oh, you're going to tempt the men.
do. No, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Keep your
If
dick
you
in
have
your
a
fucking
that's
pants.
that's a you problem, not a them problem. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Got
Feels good.
Some rage fuel out there to the world. Love it. Doing our job.
What?
Getting people, getting ladies riled up. Love it.
Yes. Well, I'm sure men are mad too. You better be if you're listening to this.
Yeah.
All right. So. Well, if you have any comments on high heels or anything at all, shoot us an email at difficultwomenpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. We have a new website, difficultwomenpodcast.com. Sign up for our email list, our newsletter, we're going to be releasing some fucking hot merch very, very soon. We're working with this incredible artist. And you'll be the first to get maybe a little discount if you sign up over on our website, difficultwomenpodcast.com.
Do it.
We're not going to be selling high heels.
We won't tell you what to do, but sign up on our email list.
Sign up now.
Do it. Or we'll fire you. Okay, bye.